idea how this is going to work.
Spring is here, everything gets green, it's nice outside, all that snow is gone, and all that snow is gone. So it melted, obviously, but it is kind of neat what happens when all that snow melts. You know, we're not just seeing giant puddles in the streets. And I know talking about snow is sort of talking about winter, we're trying to get past all that, but hold on, it is kind of interesting what happens when all that snow melts and how the city of Edmonton deals with it.
You know, by the time you hit June, nobody really remembers what the winter was like. Environment Canada termed it as a 1 in 20 year storm. Well, you know, the normal snowfall amounts for Edmonton is in the range of 123 centimeters. And generally your peak snow months are December and January, about 24, 25 for each one of those. You know, of course, to get a spring snowstorm in April it's not unusual. And we developed our own, what we think is the right way to do it, and we've improved each time as we've built a new snow storage site. The snow storage sites, in essence, are designed where there's a berm around the outside, and of course it's a clay lined. It's designed similar to what you do for a landfill.
Basically, the city digs an elevated hole, lines it with clay, and puts a berm, which is like a ridge of dirt, around the edges of the hole. Then they start piling the snow inside. When the snow melts, it travels down a slope into a settling pond, which is lined to protect the groundwater from any contaminants in the melting snow. And from that settling pond, the city can control how much of that meltwater gets into the sewers, thus preventing a giant flood.
You're able to control the outflow into the storm sewer from there. So you're controlling the runoff. So it's not just going to run and flood everywhere.
On the dry grass, it's water for a change, she says, baby, there's nothing like the rain.
We have 2,335 kilometers storm sewer system, so that takes all the street runoff and the rainfall that falls on your roof and so on.
Sarah's got the board sneaked around.
Oh, there you go, this in brick.
Okay.
You just get one.
So now if you could build it.
I can build something.
The Edmontonian Presents is sponsored by Live Local Alberta's Dine Local, a listing of locally owned independent restaurants. live-local.ca. The Edmontonian Presents is brought to you by The Edmontonian, news, information, and events. TheEdmontonian.com.
So I'm here at the Alberta Legislature. It's the indoor pedway that connects the legislature, the annex. I'm here with Alex from Defining Eve. So here in the pedway, there's sort of 3 loops or walks that they've defined.
In this particular loop, the health block loops that have been set up some time ago, it seems, there are 3 options, and I think that for most of us, if we were to start with one of the 3 options and progress from that, we'd see improvements in our fitness, we'd see improvements in our health. This is just a parameter. You can create your own workout using these stations, or even take the same concept and apply it to the outdoors. So if you wanted to, you could say, okay, station 1, I'm going to do something for upper body, and book it over to the next station and do something for lower body. But it doesn't necessarily need to be this wall push-up. This is like kind of old school aerobics. I have something that would make this a lot better. So this one suggests a slide step side. So this is going to add some resistance to that. No excuses. Wallet, hair elastic, spare shirt to change into after my workout, and all this stuff. So some of us are really not knowledgeable about heart rate or whether we're working hard enough to get the benefit of what we're doing. And this will tell you whether you're working hard enough. And it's a great tool because accompanied with this heart rate monitor watch, you can detect whether or not your body is benefiting from your walking intensity or from your lunging intensity. The ones with the chest strap are the ones that are most beneficial because they actually detect your heart rate at the source. Some of the bodyweight exercises that are most typical that you could do on a mat are things like push-ups. So if you have a mat available, this one suggests using this one for abdominals and to do push-ups over at the other station. But you know, I'm a bit of a pansy, so I would probably want to have a mat so that I don't get dirt on my hands. If you're doing push-ups from your knees, then you want to start by dropping your hips. Shoulders are directly over your wrists, coming all the way down and up. Now, there's actually a way of making a push-up a little bit more easy. And a little bit easier for people is army crawl. Army crawl sounds harder, but it's a modified push-up. So if you think of a push-up as requiring a ton of upper body strength to push you up, you have army crawl, which is lower, lower, up, up, an easier version of the push-up because each of the pushes is supported.
It's all about sort of taking those smaller steps. Like I don't have to, my first step doesn't have to be a year membership and trying to bench press my weight.
That's usually the worst first step because it just ends up in being an automatic payment withdrawal from your account and you're not actually sure where it's going or why it's there. The best first step is getting off of the couch or stepping out of your office, you know, and then building on that.
There are lots of common things. Absolutely no scissors when you cut your stems. Scissors actually pinch the stems closed and your flowers can't drink. So within 2 days your flowers are necking over and you're thinking, what the? Use a sharp knife or a pair of gardening pruners. Those are meant for cutting stems. Other things, clean vase, clean water. Lots of places will give you the little packet of flower food. Yeah. Not necessary. If your flowers, if you give them a fresh cut and they go in clean water and a clean vase and you change your water out every 3 to 4 days, your flowers are going to last you. You don't need to put chemicals and additives into your flowers.
We all got clothes and snip, snip, snip.
When you go to a grocery store, ethylene gas is the worst thing for your flowers. And then you think of where your flowers are. They're right in the doorway. So they get all the cold drafts in the winter, they get all the warm, doors opening, doors closing, people walking by, they grab them and they're kept in with the fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables produce the highest emittance of ethylene gas, which kills your flowers. Often flowers that are coming, especially out of South American Ecuador, can be not the same quality. All our flowers actually come in from BC. We buy off the auction and we have someone that buys our flowers from us right straight from the auctions. Everything is local Canadian, but it's coming out of BC.
The Edmontonian Presents on ShawTV is sponsored by the League of Extraordinary Media, online content producers. leagueofextraordinarymedia.com.
That sweet rose wine. Oh, gotta make that sweet rose wine.
SOS Fest, the sounds of Old Strathcona, took over White Avenue and the neighborhood this weekend. More than 150 bands and musicians took the stage at bars, clubs, restaurants, churches, stores, and in the street.
There's like a million shows going on all at once. All my favorite musicians and friends are playing, and it's just like, oh, I'm playing Saturday. So am I. Like 4 people are playing at the same time.
There were more than 20 official venues, and a $30 wristband got you into as many as you could get to Friday night and Saturday. Sunday was an all-out street party with 2 stages bookending the annual street sale. White Avenue's got no shortage of nightlife, and it regularly does have plenty of places hosting live music. SOS Fest was supposed to embrace, highlight, and encourage it.
We've actually identified 27 different venues that have done music over the past 6 months in some function or other. A dozen that do it on at least a weekly basis, if not every night, so it's really happening here.
But something this large doesn't come together overnight. Well, almost not overnight.
Planning began mid-March after my last music conference. I'm a musician as well, and so March to April, April to May, May to June, June to July, so 3.5–4 months really. We had 124, I believe, somewhere roughly in there, of the best volunteers I think that the city could have provided us. I mean, that is one of the reasons that this festival did go as well as it did in its first year.
As a music goer, this was an amazing weekend. I took in almost 20 different acts, a lot of them from Edmonton. Plus, the range of venues added a mix of fun, hearing live music where you normally wouldn't.
And there were people that you had to walk them through, and then they came on. And I imagine that next year we will have the people who needed the wait and see year. But to get 22 venues in the first year after 4 months is, I think that's incredible.
Original Joe's Varsity is another venue off the map, but manager Trevor Belcher wanted in on the action, and that's the kind of attitude festival organizers want to see. Just because White Avenue's got live music doesn't mean it's what the Strip is known for. When drinking gets out of hand, when people get hurt, especially through violence, that's what makes the news. SOS Fest was partly to combat that image, partly to start encouraging bar owners to think about attracting a different crowd.
It's a great idea for the Ave, and since it is our mandate to be live music all the time, it just made sense, and and we wanted to be in on the ground level and support the community.
It was exciting to see people running around to venues, carefully deciding where to go next, referencing their festival schedule to make sure they didn't miss that great band they heard was going to be one of the hits of the weekend. If SOS Fest is going to become Edmonton's newest regular summer festival, organizers have a lot of positives to build on. Really, just a delay to one of the street stages on the negative. and they've got more than a couple of months to get ready for another go.
We have a year from now, so we'll make it happen again.
Give my hips to the girls, they can touch them when they dance. They felt the beat, they cut the rug. Let these joints and balls be ground to dust by people moving round.
Historically, our festivals have all been concentrated in the summer months. You're right, we get, that's where we just go non-stop. Our Fringe Festival, celebrating its 30th year this year, is fantastic, and second largest Fringe next to, the only one that beats it is the original Fringe in Edinburgh, Scotland, is a fantastic event. You know, the number of people that show up for the Heritage Festival is just incredible. So it's, and the Folk Festival, well, if you don't get your tickets in the first 2 days, you don't get your tickets, you know, so our reputation is so good. Because we're getting much more year-round product festivals with our Winter Lights Festival now, Berkey Biner, Silver Skates. We've got all those happening, and we got a new festival coming here into Churchill Square next winter.
Follow me, men. Empty your pockets and do not resist. Answer up.
We really promote our festivals through our Festival City in the Box program, where we take our festivals out on the road to, we've had it in Ottawa, Washington, D.C., London. We take our festivals out and show people what they're all about and encourage them to come here. So there's no question the traffic, the national, international traffic to our festivals is growing. We're really seeing it in Canada. We're seeing where that reputation of Festival City is really starting to stick for Edmonton. People know our reputation on the quality of our festivals and the non-stop nature of them. And it's a great plus for us in international markets where people may not know a lot about us, but when we can promote our arts and culture through our festivals, it certainly positions us well.
Scott, shouldn't you be asking me a question right about now?
The Edmontonian Presents is brought to you in part by The Unknown Studio, Edmonton podcast and blog, theunknownstudio.ca.
The snow storage sites, in essence, are designed where there's a berm around the outside, and of course it's a clay lined. It's designed similar to what you do for a landfill. You're able to control the outflow into the storm sewer from there. So you're controlling the runoff. So it's not just going to run and flood everywhere.
We had a consulting fellow from New York City come up in about 1910 who gave us advice on how we should be building our sewers, and he said combined was the way to go. Why build 2 pipes when you can get away with 1, right? So in the late 50s and the 60s, we started building separated sewers. So separated sewers are a storm sewer system, so that takes all the street runoff and the rainfall that falls on your roof and so on. And then there's a separate sanitary system. So the stuff from your toilets and your showers and your kitchen sink all goes into the sanitary system only.